Well, as the weekend is coming to a close, it doesn't mean we have to end here. But I can tell you this, we're going to be capping up from some of the shows I haven't seen so far. Most of it coming from Japan. So we're going to be doing two of them. The first one is from All Japan Pro Wrestling with the New Year Giant Series. This is day 3 in Cork and Hall, I believe. And of course, we have some interesting title matches and a very interesting celebration to a veteran wrestler who is, I don't know for sure if he's retiring or what, but there was a special battle royale for the winner of that match who's going to walk out and face this veteran wrestler. And then we move on with Pro Wrestling Noah with more of Sunny Voyage 2024, where they're in Shinjuku FACE, and of course, the GHC National Championship is on the line. Jack Morris defends his belt against the franchise Titus Alexander. We got various other cool stuff as well. Then we cap it up with some new updates with what's been going on with the promotions, such as what events they're putting out, who's booked, what matches are set, any wrestlers that have been signed or departing from their promotions, and other developments that have been happening in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay right here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is the channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not so big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to get our hands on. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also do other cool features as well on this one, such as news updates alert, new Nagi Sayaka watch, also special episodes, whatever we want to put our hands on this. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff on this channel as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, as you know, 2024 has started out with a good year, especially in the Japanese wrestling scene. We have plenty of other things that took place. Our first review right now is with All Japan Pro Wrestling with New Year Giants 2024. This is day 3 of their show, and this took place recently on the 14th of January. They had opened up with a pre-show starting the At-Risk Girls doing their thing, and I think this is another group doing another dancing, singing routine because the last two ones we did, they showed other girls that were just plain old dancing and playing the song Love Riddle, which is a familiarized tune that I know of from At Risk Girls from almost 2 years or so. But nonetheless, it just did that, but it did jump into a match. We did have two wrestlers who were part of that performance group. We have um, Sakura Mizushima and me. I recognize me. She is one wrestler I've seen on At Risk Girls many times. They take on a group known as Jadoshu, led by Ak Yasukawa. The members participating in this match is Kyoka Iwai and Maru. Now, you can tell by the look of the second team, they're like the villain faction, which is very common just by looking at them. But nonetheless, you would have thought that the villains would have walked away with the win. Nope. As we always see in comic books, good always prevail, and of course, it was Me, who picked up the win when she pinned Maru. Now we jumping into our main event. Um, well, our main card, but however, they did jump in. They did introduce a wrestler named Masanobu Fuchi, a very recognizable wrestler. I'm not sure what was going on. I couldn't tell if this is his retirement or whatever was in, but he was there. Many wrestlers gave him a bouquet of flowers and all this other stuff, which was very nice. I mean, it's something we don't normally see here in wrestling when it comes in the States, but when it comes to Japan, that's what they normally do. So, but we do see that he will be in the main event, facing against the winner of the Battle Royale, which is going to be interesting to watch. So, right now, let's get started with our very first match. Our first match, we have Fuminori Abe, Hikaru Sato, Kotaro Suzuki, and Koji Iwamoto taking on Atsuki Ayogi, Rising Hayato, Ryo Noah, and of course our current All Japan World Junior Heavyweight Champion Dan Tamura. Now, last time Dan Tamura had his knows that someone is gunning for him, and that is Koji Iwamoto, who wants that title that he has. So basically, much of that story is being told. Nonetheless, the other competitors are great junior heavyweight competitors. I mean, Fuminori Abe is amazing. Not only can do high flying, but he can do submission moves if he wanted to. We also see Hikaru Sato, not a high flyer, excellent martial artist and a submission specialist. Kotaro Suzuki, veteran in the junior heavyweight division. Currently, we've seen him in GLEAT. And then Koji Iwamoto, what can I say? Amazing wrestler. But for their opponents, we know that Atsuki Yogi has been champion. Rising Hayato is one where I argued saying he should have been champion right about now. Ryo Noi, rising star. Dan Tamura, current champion. But nonetheless, this match, I knew that this was going to end where Koji Iwamoto will make a statement in this one because he pinned Dan Tamura when he overthrew him, a judo move that's been well recognized. I don't know if I have any judo experts as my subscribers. You probably know what I'm talking about. The guy actually overthrew him and pinned him. So it's a direct message. Iwamoto is telling Tamura, I want your title. So obvious question is, he wants to be the next challenger. B, when and where. Just like that. So we'll see when that happens. Our next match, we had a very interesting, fun match. We have Nodoku Doi and Ren Ayabe taking on the veterancy of Azamu Nishimura, who is a veteran wrestler, and the most fun, lovable character of them all. Um, well, he was known as Ikemenjiro, but now he's called by Kuroshio, Tokyo, Japan. As always, with his regular entrance routine, it always plays out pretty well. I love it. But of course, Naruki Doi wasn't going to have it. Of course, there was going to be moments where Naruki Doi was going to say, try to build shortcuts in order to pick up the win. But it did not work because, unfortunately, it was Ayabe who got pinned on this one with a reversal pinfall on this one. And of course, Kuroshio was so happy that he actually pulled it off. So, yep. So that's what happened. Now, our next match, this is for the Gaota TV title. Now, we saw this title defended recently in day 2 of the New Year's Giant Series. Black Mansuri defeated Minoru Tanaka for his belt. And I did mention Mansuri is leaving the promotion by the end of this month. And I'm like, okay, this is very interesting, but also very not unorthodox, very all of a sudden, I mean, sure that sooner or later he had to drop the title at some point, but I didn't expect it was going to come soon. But nonetheless, his opponent is, of course, Kuroshio's tag partner, Seigyo Tachibana. Now, Tachibana, he can be a bit more funny, but when it comes to title matches, he knows he has to take it serious, and that's something very important because, I mean, you can be funny if you wanted to, but when it comes to championship matches, you know you have to take it seriously because you may never know when another opportunity will come around. And I think Tachibana played out pretty well on this one. I mean, even if Kuroshio was a bit annoying to him, he knows that, hey, go back. I don't need you around. So he told him to do that. But oh my god, Tachibana really, really impressed me when he took out Black Samurai, when he whacked him with a forearm in the back of the head, and it was over right from there, becoming our brand new Gyota TV champion. I thought amazingly. Now, our next match is the All Japan World Tag Team titles. As you know, we have the winners of the Real World Tag League, and that is, of course, Hikuto Omori and our current Triple Crown champion, Katsuhiko Nakajima. Now, I can tell you guys this. A lot of people said if Nakajima wins the tag titles, he can eventually, how do I say, put All Japan in the map and basically rule All Japan, which is, of course, me. I'm looking forward to it. But a lot of things have been coming around since his arrival, and I will talk about that on a discussion video, and I will explain that to all of you by the end of this video. Now, I have to say, their opponents, they have to face one of the most toughest and strongest tag team, the Saito brothers, Jun and Ri. Now, you can say, Nakajima will figure something out. The dude is an unstoppable beast. I agree. But I have to say, they really put him through the limit. But I asked myself, was this a bit too much for him, or did he underestimated the Saito brothers altogether? That is something I don't know. But it was, of course, what's his name? Ri Sato with a lariat that knocked out Nakajima, pinning him, crushing the double champion of Nakajima. But however, interesting factor. Now, anybody who follows Japanese wrestling, you know what I'm talking about. Rei Sato pinned Nakajima. Does that mean he gets a title shot? I mean, I could see eventually that could happen. But the only way that match could happen if Nakajima beats his current opponent that he's now facing later on, and that is, of course, Shotaro Ashino. So he is the current opponent. I mean, if somehow he survives that match, then he has to contend with Risato. So we'll see what that happens. Now, our battle royal, as I mentioned before, we have veteran wrestler Masanobu Fuchi, who will be, I don't know, retiring or whatever. So we had almost all the wrestlers who were involved in this. Well, we had a few that were involved. We had Kento Miyahara, Minoru Suzuki, Yuma Aoyogi, um, Ruki Honda, who else? Yuma Anzai, and a few others. But there were a lot of wrestlers that were determined to win this one, and amongst them, I knew for a fact it was Kento Miyahara, but Yuma Anzai was the one who eliminated him and becoming the winner to face against the veteran. Now, you can say, oh, this guy Fuji, who's a veteran, he's old, don't try to count your chickens with him yet. But nonetheless, Yuma Anzai is a very impressive wrestler. Not to mention, he participated in last year's N1 victory with Noah, and it's great that he's showing what he can do. Not only when we see him teaming with Ruki Honda as a tag team, but as a singles competitor, and I think it was very impressive. So Yuma applied a chokehold onto Fuchi to pick up the win, and I thought not bad. So I don't know what Fuchi said during his post-match promo, but I'm sure people were grateful. And I want to put this on a note. Uh, Masanobu Fuchi's theme entrance is "Danger Zone" from the Top Gun soundtrack. So yes, so that was Kenny Loggins' song. So yes, he played "Danger Zone," which I have no problem with. It. I love the song myself as well. So. So I think that's pretty much it with All Japan. I don't know when they'll be back, but hopefully I get to see more shows for them. But right now, let's move on with our last and final review, Pro Wrestling Noah. Okay, our final review, Pro Wrestling Noah, with more with Sunny Voyage in 2024, and this took place recently on the 17th of January in Shinjuku FACE. Now, our first match, we have two guys who know each other pretty well. They were recently in a tag team title match, but they lost. We have Alejandro and Ninja Mac. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of both these guys for what they do. I mean, Ninja Mac, he's unbelievable. Alejandro, well, I like to say that his name is very unique. I mean, you would think this guy came all the way from Mexico, but no, this is a native wrestler in Japan who goes by that name, but I just don't know why. But nonetheless, he's a very interesting wrestler to enjoy. But of course, in this particular match, there were going to be a lot of high flying spots on this one. But unfortunately, this one ended with, of course, Ninja Mac doing a very impressive pinfall to pick up the win. But nonetheless, him and Alejandro will always continue to be friends and good tag team partners. Now, our next match, we have Junta Miyawaki, Shojo Kundo, and Manabu Soya taking on Hajime Ohara, who else? Super Crazy, and Naomichi Marufuji. Nothing too significant about this match, but I know for a fact that Manabu Soya, who had a great match at New Year's back on the 2nd of January, will love nothing more to go back into the JHC heavyweight title conversation to finally win that belt that he's long desired. But he has to go through Marufuji and his friends. But nonetheless, it was Manabu Soya who picked up the win by applying the jumping DDT onto Super Crazy. One, two, three. It's done. Just like that, son. Next match, we have tag team action. We have Daiki Inaba and Masakita Miya. They take on Ulka Sasaki and Takashi Sugiura. Now, we know that recently Sasaki and Sugiura, they were in a, on the standing diagonally back on New Year's, but of course, Sasaki really pulled up a great impression with Takashi with Sugiura, but you would have expected that this was going to be okay. They're facing against a group of guys who does have cohesion. Now, this is just barely the beginning for Sasaki and Sugiura as a tag team. So, nonetheless, nothing wrong with it. But, of course, Sasaki was the one who ended up on the wrong side of the pinfall when Ki, um, Kitamiya applied a senton onto him, and boom. Just like that, it was over. Next match, we have Team Noah consisting of Hiroki, Asushi Kotoge, and Go Shiozaki taking on um, Yu Owada, Taishi Ozawa, and of course, Keno. Now, keep in mind, Keno has a date with Destiny with Go Shiozaki. As you know, Go Shiozaki, for many years, he's been saying, I am Noah. Keno feels like, no, I am Noah because I'm carrying this belt. It says that I'm Noah. So that's always been, Keno always has this state of opinion, what he believes is the actual way. So, however, just like I've predicted many times, even though Ozawa and Owada are rookies, they well, it was Owada who ended up on the wrong side of the lariat by Go Shiozaki to pick up the win. Now our next match, we have tag team action in the junior heavyweight division. We have Eita and Hayata teaming up once again. They take on Stinger members Yoshinari Ogawa and of course our current GHC junior heavyweight champion Daga. Now keep in mind, I'm sure Eita will love nothing more to get back in a conversation for another shot of Daga's title. But however, he has to wait until the right moment is. But Daga is proving that this is his round, that no one is there to stop him. Now, this match, there's a lot of animosity from both sides of the spectrum in this match. Keep in mind, Hayata used to be a member of Stinger, but now he's no longer. And of course, Eita and Daga go way back from Dragon Gate. So there was a lot of factors. But however, a third factor just stepped into this, and that is the form of Hajime Ohara. He got involved in this match, and this match turned into a no contest. However, I figured what was going on. Ohara, in the other hand, got involved and took out Daga. And it doesn't take a genius to understand what he was doing. From looking at this, I figured he's calling a shot. He wants the GHC Junior Heavyweight title, which is a no-brainer right there. So I'm sure Daga was thinking that no one is on his level, no one's gonna beat him, no one's gonna try to get his attention. Well, fortunately, it didn't go exactly like he would have assumed, but nonetheless, now he has someone else to contend. I'm sure he's going to be extremely pissed knowing that someone decided to rain on his parade. Now, our next match, we have the members of GLG, Tadasuke, Yohei, LJ Clearing, Anthony Green, and Jake Lee. They take on Rohei Oiwa, Dragonbane, Alpha Wolf, and Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., along with Keito Kiyomiya. I have to say this is a very interesting combination. So, I mean, you do have Yohei and Tadasuke, the current GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. They just beat Alpha Wolf and Dragon Maid for those titles, and they're right on the opposite side of them. But nonetheless, there was a good match. But one thing that was surprising me is how this match ended. Alpha Wolf pile drived Anthony Green, which was impressive. But however, after this match, it appears, well, they're doing what exactly the Young Bucks did a few years ago. Now, if you guys still remember, let me do a little quick recap before moving on from this part of the match. We all seen the Young Bucks. They were very successful as the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. They had those belts at least 7 times. But at some point, the Bucks made the choice, we want to move on to the heavyweight division. They've been making conversations, arguments about that. Of course, the IWGP committee weren't sure if they were able to do it, but they did, and they won the tag titles from, of course, Evil and Sonata back in in Dominion back in 2018, I believe. But yes, that led to that. So we could see a similar type of scenario right now with Dragonbane and Alpha Wolf. They have already won the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. I don't see no problem at all for them moving to heavyweights. Now, I'm sure that the governing body of the GHC committee will try to listen to their argument. I'm sure that Dragonbane and Alpha Wolf will plead their case. But I'm sure that Anthony Green, his tag partner, Jack Morris, will try to divert, saying, nope, these guys are junior heavyweights. There is no way. But here's the thing, guys. It's not uncommon in Japanese wrestling or, like, let's say, in boxing that you move up the weight class. I mean, it's not uncommon in wrestling. It's the same thing. We saw that with Will Ospreay, who jumped in from junior heavyweight to heavyweight. We saw that with El Phantasmo, the same thing. We even saw that with Naomichi Marufuji. He did the same thing too. So it's not uncommon in wrestling to move up weight class. So I'm sure we will hear more of that at some point. So we'll see what happens for both Dragonbane and Alpha Wolf, the brothers, what they're going to do. Now, our next match, our main event, is the GHC National Championship. We have the challenger Titus Alexander taking on Jack Morris. I have to say, very impressive performance by Titus Alexander. Not a fan of him, but I have seen him wrestle many times, either in whatever promotions, if it's in Prestige, West Coast Pro, or GCW, wherever he goes, you know he's impressive. And he really impressed me what he did in this match. You would have assumed we would have had him win the GHC National Championship and brought it back to him to the Bay Area. But no. Apparently, it was the Morris applied the underhook power bomb to pick up the win. But he really gave some props to Titus Alexander in this particular match. And I have to say, I would love to see more of Titus Alexander making more appearances in Noah. And I think Noah is a good fit for him because I'm sure it's not easy for foreign wrestlers to try to get involved in New Japan, but only time will tell. So we will see what happens until then. But for right now, I think we're all done with our reviews. Let's move on with some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So this is what we have. So let's begin with the GCW. As you know, we have later on this month the Look at Me show that takes place on the 26th of January in Tampa. They already announced that we're going to have Gringo Loco versus John Wayne Murdoch. Ooh, this is going to be good. Now, we know how the base god himself has been making headways not only in GCW and other places, but he's facing a guy who is all about violence. We're talking about the Duke of Hardcore, John Wayne Murdoch. So I'm looking forward to see what he gets himself into. I mean, because later on we do see him, he will face against John Moxley later on. So we'll see. Now, as for more with GCW, the Touch the Sky event that takes place in February on the 23rd in Dallas, the GCW World title is defended. That Weasel, Blake Christian, takes on the master of the DDT Tornado, Fuego del Sol. That's right. It's the same Fuego who hanged out with Sammy a lot. So he will be involved in that match. So I'm looking forward to see that. Now, as you know, early in February, JCW, Jersey Championship Wrestling, will have their 2-day annual tournament, the Jersey J Cup. Now, they announced a non tournament match, and this one is for the GCW World Tag titles. Violence is Forever takes on the Astronauts. Now, if you guys aren't familiarized with the Astronauts, this is a Japanese tag team, and amongst them is a wrestler who I just mentioned earlier during the review of All Japan Pro Wrestling, Fuminori Abe. And I forgot who his tag partner is, but they're a fantastic team to watch. So if you guys ever seen them, check them out. Now, um, as you know, I mentioned um, Mustafa Ali went to France recently and he wrestled in a French promotion. Well, this same promotion called APC Catch announced for their show later on in March called The Apocalypse. Leo Rush will be making his way. Now, I haven't seen the full match of it. I will do a review on those two on that on two different ways. One for the podcast, the other one on a special episode, which I'm now considering doing soon as well. So we'll get to that. But yeah, so Leo Rush is going to making his debut in this French promotion. So if you're asking me what's the name of it, it's APC Catch. So try to look for more information about them if you can. Now, as you know, we had the collaboration promotion between both Marvelous and West Coast Pro with their Marvelous Coast show. They announced that on the show will take place on the 23rd of March. They announced for Tomoko Watanabe will be making her debut as well. So I'm sure the entire American fan base of in the Yoshi Wrestling Day will be happy to see her. Now, more information. We have Kitsune Women Wrestling for the Kanpai show on the 24th of March, Marika Kobashi makes her debut. I cannot recall if I already mentioned that, but I'm happy that she will be here because I know she can speak English because she's been studying. So I'm sure many of you fans or who are big Marika Kobashi fans, if you're dying to see her, go to LA and get your tickets now. Now, finally, now I want to correct myself. As you know, there's this promotion down in Australia called World Series Wrestling. They normally will bring in wrestlers from here and other locations for a tour. And I thought that this tour was going to take place this month, but it turns out they corrected themselves because I just follow what they post. Apparently, that tour will take place in 4 days, but in the summer. There will be a 3-day show down on from the 28th to the 30th of June. And also they'll have one show on the beginning of July, on 1st of July. So the tour is called Most Wanted. However, four of these wrestlers that they mentioned are former WWE superstars, and here are who they are. We have Ash by Elegance, formerly known as Dana Brooke. Yes, she's going to be in it. Matt Cardona, as you all remembered him as Zack Ryder. Nick Bennett, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler. And then finally, Elijah, formerly known as Elias. So I'm looking forward to that. So I hope I get to hear what's going on in that tour. Now, other developments have been happening in pro wrestling. Let's talk about that. Amongst them, as you know, things have been going a little different with All Japan Pro Wrestling. Apparently, an unnamed star said that actions will be taken to uh, to normalize the company. From what this is, they're saying it's because of the arrival of Nakajima. It put people on ease and question what is going on with Nakajima showing up. So I have to say it's very obvious that that's what's happening. But we'll see what happens because nobody is trusting the president Fukuda for this one. Now, singer artist Adele apparently said this was during a Fightful Select report. Adele mentioned she went to see the Iron Claw and she said it's the best movie she's seen in years. Now, I cannot say it's the best movie, but I can say it's the most interesting movie to watch because of the story you all know about the Von Erich family. So it's interesting for someone like her to see it and for us to hear that, yeah, Adele went to see it. But I haven't done a review on that one just yet, but we'll get to that at some point. Now, our final development, Deonna Purrazzo was on Talk Is Jericho, and she mentioned that it was Britt Baker who helped her to get into AEW. And this is what she had to say. Let me pull it up real quick for all of you, because I saved that in review so well. Oh, yeah, here it is. Britt Baker actually connected me with Tony Khan, and we got to talking. I knew the first Dynamite of the new year was going to be in New Jersey. That's where I'm from. So I was like, that would be a dream scenario. Dream come true if we could do that. And it all worked out. So, yeah, I mean, I have to say it did work out. I mean, it was in New Jersey. Don't forget, Deonna Purrazzo is a Jersey girl, so it would make sense. But it's great that she has friends like Britt Baker that gave her the connection. Some of you might probably asking, where's Britt Baker? Well, apparently she's stepping down for a while because fans just had enough with her and she listened. So nothing wrong with that. But hearing that Britt really did help her out, that's great. Now, our last thing I want to talk about in the updates, as you know, every year Stardom does the Stardom Awards, but this is from last year of 2023. And I'll do a little talking about this one. Now, this is the awards. For the MVP award, it goes to Tam Nakano. Best bout, Julia versus Megan Bayne at Dream Queendom that took place on December 29th. Best tag team, Natsupoi and Sayori Onoi. Best unit, Queen's Quest. Best achievement, Mayu Iwatani. Fighting spirit, Zuzu Suzuki. Best skilled, Mirai. Shining award, and this one was voted by the fans, Maika. So yeah, so these votes were done by the fans themselves. Now you probably ask yourselves, why did Tam get the MVP? Well, you got to look at it this way. We know that she was willing to shine even further. She was willing to defend the belt, and not to mention, I know many people talked about that it was a mistake to have both the white belt and red belt at the same time, but nonetheless, is that. But people often talked about how they think Cosmic Angels are done. Did you guys read my list? Tam Nakano may have won the MVP, but so did Natsupoi and Sadi Hanoi. So that means they walk away with it. So they still are still strong, regardless of what people say. Now, for the Julia and Megan Bayne match, I have to say I agree with that one because I think many fans were anticipating that one a lot. So that could be one of those things why. Um, Best unit Queen's Quest. I have to say I like that one because I love the storyline that they put out. If you guys remember, it was where of course Utami Ishida was being questioned as the leader, how things were not going well for Queen's Quest because they haven't done anything great since Utami Ishida took over, and of course their feud with Odo Tai. Um, a special achievement, Mayu Utani. Well, what can you say about the icon herself, Mayu Utani? I mean, what can you say about her? I mean, she's done it all. Um, Fighting spirit Zuzu, I have to say yes. I mean, she does have the fighting spirit. I think many fans are waiting for the moment when Zuzu finally becomes the red belt champion, and hopefully she becomes that champion this year, which I'm sure many of us will love to see. Of course, best skill Mirai. I have to say Mirai is very skilled wrestler. I mean, I've seen what she can do in the ring. And of course, Shining Award Micah. I mean, many people have often talked about Micah, how she is also a rising star. And I think it's a great thing that now that DDM is done, now we can see what she can do now that DDM's done. So we'll see what happens. But right now, I think this is pretty much it what we have for our news updates and everything else. Let's just call it a day. Okay, so I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Uh, no new plans have been made for what the next episode is going to be. So I made a judgment call recently. I will do a discussion video talking about all Japan's recent activities. It talks, of course, we'll be talking about the partnership with WWE, which is still ongoing. But at the same time, a lot of things has been happening with All Japan Pro Wrestling due to the arrival of Nakajima. Wrestlers that have been leaving. People would often say now, how would this affect the partnership with WWE? I mean, there's many ways it could happen, but we will be covering all of our bases on that part as well. I will be doing a special episode as well where we talk about the match that Mustafa Ali did in France with APCW, with APC in France. So I'll be reviewing that and also be doing the Surrealism chapter 1 and 2 as well on the special episode. So we will see how that will go around, and I'm excited to do it for all of you. But for now, we'll just leave it as how we planned out and move forward from here on out. So I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye and have a nice day. Bang.